All right, hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Steven here with MTarget, talking about Dota 2, and as you may or may not notice, immediately, I have a new stand.
Dude, oh yeah, the way your pop filter is like not attached. Like, what's going on?
Oh, the pop filter is attached, but it's also got its own like arm.
Yeah, so that's the way that you like moved your mic and not your pop filter. It's like mic's up here, pop filter's down here. It's like that doesn't do you any good.
But anyway, the Tim Hortons mug era is over. The Tim Hortons mug is back to regular mug duties, holding coffee or other things.
I was so confused for a second, and then I remembered that's what was doing.
That's been my microphone stand for months.
Yep.
Thank you to my wife who got this for me for my birthday. It's great, and I love it, and I love her more. We're here to talk about Dota 2. And that's significantly less important, but we're doing it anyway. So, PGL Open happened over the weekend. ESL One Hamburg happening this coming weekend. Bunch of other random shit happened in between, varying degrees of importance. And then immediately after ESL One Hamburg, we have Dueling Fates update scheduled for November 1st, which means it will likely drop November 2nd, 3rd, but not really.
I think it'll actually drop on the 1st. They've pushed it back enough.
Yeah, it's been pushed back enough. We're probably actually going to get it on the day that they said. I imagine that it's got to be good to go just because, you know, they're setting it up to drop immediately after ESL One Hamburg, right?
Yeah.
Like, right? It's got to be what it's got to be what their plan is, right?
One would hope.
One would hope. But so, which one do you want to talk about first? So, preview of actually, let's talk about PGL. I'm gonna
recap first. Always recap.
Okay. So PGL Open happened, and in terms of straight results, it was a solid tournament. Fun stuff happened in Bucharest at the PGL offices. There was some harumphing about the actual production of it because it was not in front of a live crowd.
Yo,
I like it just fine.
That was I'm trying to swear less. That was an awesome show. Very well done. I loved what they did in terms of the stage, and there were a lot of people who were complaining about the set with the two where you had the hosts and the analysts, and you had Red Eye on one side and you had this big empty space and then two people on the other side. It was a very well set up set. They just kept going to the wide angle at the wrong time. It's not so much a matter of the setting, it was a matter of an occasional bad camera choice. Overall, I do think that it was very well done there. So enough about.
Yeah, I definitely noticed that too. I'll also point out that in terms of the camera work discussion, you could kind of tell who they were liking, which team they were liking more. Because like Team Secret versus Immortals, for Team Secret, they had the sweet panorama shots, zooms in on Puppy, zoom in on Keizu. Then for Immortals, they show like the security camera to make sure that they don't steal their computers on the way out.
There were some nuances. I think this is the first time that they've done anything with. Hang on, I've got to turn off Twitch Presents. I've got Yu-Gi-Oh going on the other computer right now, and it's getting.
Oh, is that on now?
Yeah, it started this morning or this afternoon.
I'll probably watch a little bit. I'm a big fan of Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged series.
Yeah, there was actually a decent Abridged series show. But anyways, in terms of
decent.
It's been a long time since I watched the Abridged. Anyways, it was very obvious that there was a lot of growing pains with that set and a lot of
for sure.
trying to figure that out. So again, those are little things that I really won't begrudge them for. Overall, it was a very well done show, and I want to see more of them. I want to see more. Screw the audience. Let's just get to the gameplay. Let's not worry about pandering to audience here and there.
Yeah,
just have a good time.
In terms of my own personal tastes, I am surprised at how much I kind of missed having an audience there for it. I actually I enjoyed Star Ladder, and that was kind of it seemed like it was a pretty damn small venue.
Yeah. I guess that would have been true. It would have been nice even if they only had like 50 or 100 people.
Yeah, and like the
like some tunnel, which maybe they'll do next time.
Maybe the E-League studio is fun too. They only have like a couple hundred people there, I think.
It varies, but they can cram in a decent number of people if they want to.
Yeah, but it's not like an actual auditorium or anything. It's just like they got people on lawn chairs kind of thing. They don't. It's very obviously a studio more than it is a live entertainment venue.
Yeah,
And
but I do know that from watching it and from talking to people who have gone, because I know a lot of people in the Atlanta area, that it actually works out reasonably well, all things considered.
oh yeah.
Although I think a lot of that is it's like there's so much electricity in that space.
But yeah, I did kind of miss having a live audience, and I wasn't expecting to miss. Like, I kind of bagged on people who were saying that the lack of a live audience would hurt the event. And for me, it did. It did take out some of the fun. It was still a fun event, and there was quality Dota 2 going on, so it wasn't bad. I enjoyed it. And PGL did a very good job putting on the event after a not that great international, in my opinion.
The international definitely did feel a little bit. It wasn't bad. It was certainly a good event, but it did not feel. Most internationals feel like a 9 out of 10. You know, like you pop almost all the stops, but you hold back just a couple things because you don't know if they would work. You know, like you just little things. But then the last international felt like a 7 or an 8. There were just a couple things that didn't feel like they were either not clicking or they just didn't go for them or whatever. Again, the gameplay was great and I still enjoyed it, but there were a lot of, again, just little nuanced things that bump it from a good 7-8 to that 9-10. You know, so
I might, like, in terms of how it looked great, of course, but in terms of like the actual feel of the stuff and the actual casters that they chose, the actual analysts that they chose, I felt I actually could have gone lower than a 7-8, but we're also getting off topic.
Let's get back to
what was it talking about? PGL.
PGL and their space and everything else.
This was fun. This is a very good minor. I didn't like the timing, and I thought that the ratings probably hurt as a result. But I also appreciated how many sponsors they got for it in comparison to Starlighter. Like, oh my god, Starlighter obviously is, they have a different pool of sponsors than PGL.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is that I know that Starlighter is also very picky about their sponsors.
Yeah.
So Starlighter says, no, we're putting in our money. We don't want to share. And so they put a very high buy-in price on it. PGL, they're a little more open to taking your money. So that's why you see a few more sponsors and, weaving in and out.
But even then they don't have any like bad sponsors. It's not like
no, I'm not ragging on any sponsors. What I am saying is that Starlighter may have put a higher buy-in price that had sponsors going, we'll pass on this one maybe next time. Which again, no love lost. Nothing wrong there. I'm not ragging on anybody. That's just this decision that has to be made.
Yeah, and I mean that is like a valid decision that businesses are faced with, or media kind of businesses are faced with. Like, even with like mixed martial artists when they're selling ad space on their shorts, do you want to give exclusivity to EA Sports, or do you want to just go full NASCAR and have like gun shop and random protein shake company and this and that and this?
There's a lot of questions that come to that, but that's also totally just the reality of it.
Yeah, and I mean it's just a different approach. But like I said, I liked PGL's event because it had so many sponsors. Felt like it felt closer to a TV broadcast even, which I liked,
which was nice. There's some things that we could learn from this PGL event, and the biggest thing that we can learn from this PGL event is that, one, the Twitter armchair analysts aren't going away. But two, SEA Dota is here. This is the second event in a row where Mineski knocked it out of the park.
Yep, they looked phenomenal.
And this also further validates our discussion last week. I think it was your point that this may actually be, because they did have to pull out of DotaBit, that Mineski legitimately has a family issue where, a player just needs to get back home to wherever because they've got players from Malaysia, Singapore,
Southeast Asia,
Thailand, Philippines / United States, and then U.S. coach. So yeah, you've got people everywhere getting them back home for whatever it was because they played so damn well. I have a hard time believing it's probably code for they've got issues.
If they've got issues, man.
I don't want to see them without issues. Let's put it that way.
Or if they get issues, man, imagine what happens once they're done with it. Once things get sorted out, Jesus. So as you can probably tell, Mineski won took first place after last week's second place finish at Star Ladder. Beat out LGD Gaming this time in the finals, with third and fourth being taken by Immortals and Evil Geniuses. Teams that washed out earlier than that were Team Secret and VGJ Thunder taking 5th and 6th, and Infamous and Na'Vi taking 7th and 8th. I'll note that Na'Vi, even though they took a officially last place finish, actually looked pretty darn good. They took wins in both of their series in the group stages over VG Gaming J Thunder and Mineski. Both of those they're not bad wins to have. Those are both solid teams. Infamous, on the other hand, went 0 for 4. Got their shit kicked in by LGD. Got their shit kicked in by Secret. No shame in losing them to those teams in theory, but
yeah, in theory.
Also, Infamous. That Infamous, I don't think was supposed to be there. Yeah, they weren't supposed to be there. Digital Chaos South America was supposed to be there, but they disbanded and left. And
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is that Infamous did kind of have to prep for this on short notice, so not giving them too much of a team
that has a lot of experience together. Well, a quote unquote lot of experience. They played together. Yeah. This isn't their first time playing together.
But the other point is that this isn't quote unquote the best that South America has to offer, because they technically took second. Picked again, as you will. And something that a lot of people are complaining about, we're just going to get this out of the way now, is people were complaining that technically Evil Geniuses only had to beat VGJ Thunder in 2 best-of-3s to take 4th and walk away with 30 QP. First of all, they took a whopping 30 qualifying points. That is so freaking little, it's not even funny. And second of all, the only teams they lost to were Mineski and LGD Gaming, who, oh wait, what is
first
that?
Place and second place
first and second place, and you're mad that they lost to them? Yeah, okay, fine. EG took 3rd, 4th. But if you run this in a double elimination style bracket, maybe Evil Geniuses fall lower, maybe they fall further ahead, if you run this differently. Either way, that's where they ended up. Yes, they got invited there, but their performance against VGJ Thunder, as well as their performance against Mineski, was really okay. Yeah, sure, they went 2-0 against Mineski, but they still looked good.
Yeah, those were not. They didn't get trounced by Mineski.
Nope.
They did in their first game, kind of, because it was a 25-minute game, and that's on the shorter side. But then they had a 74-minute game. So
yeah, and that 74-minute game, they made like 2 mistakes at the end that killed them. So
yeah, and either way, I mean, they beat VG Gaming J Thunder twice. Like, that's not a bad team.
And the other thing to note is that this is their first tournament this season. This is their first tournament together, on land. Yes, they played in qualifiers. Blah blah blah. Yell at me in the chat and the comments about it. I don't care. But again, this is more a question about how are they going to do at the major. That's how all of the minors need to be viewed at. Is minors are tiebreaker points. That's it. To have your minor points actually matter, you would need to go to all of them and take first or second in all of them for your points to get anywhere near where it actually causes a problem.
Yeah, as you said last time, the minors are functionally just a tiebreaker.
Yep.
For the winners of majors. Like, it's 1,500 QP for the ESL One Hamburg. They're 1,500 QP on the line. There were 300 on the line here.
So to put this in a little bit more perspective, first place, Mineski took 150 points at PGL.
Then they took 90.
And 4th place teams at ESL One Hamburg are getting 150 each. So congratulations, a win at Bucharest equals a 3rd, 4th place at Hamburg, which again, both of those are very respectable, but just to put in perspective that 30 points is a very small amount, especially over the long term. I want to say Chelsea, Writing Deja, excuse me, her Medium account is Chelsea Jack, and somebody else. Both there are at least 2 people that wrote articles on what you need to do to win out, or how to win out to get Valve invites to TI based on pro circuit points. And they all say, universally, minors are tiebreakers. These 30 points here or whatever there aren't going to do you any good. The 150s might. and I'm certainly not bashing a fourth place. Like, don't get me wrong. Like third, fourth at a minor is still acceptable money. You know, it's 30 grand in your pocket. You know, congrats to Mortals and Evil Geniuses.
You know, if we want to rope the qualifiers into this, I just pulled it up. Guess who VGJ actually beat to get into this tournament in the first place? They beat eHome.
Yeah.
They beat other VG. They beat IG. They beat IG Vitality. And they beat LGDFY. So,
yeah,
like that was a stacked qualifier for this tournament. So, I had no complaints going in about EG getting a direct invite to this tournament. I have no qualms about it going out of this, and I have no qualms about them getting third place by beating VGJ Thunder twice, and I have no qualms about them getting 30 qualifying points for that. Like,
absolutely. I think that it was good. Again, it's a small thing. I did hear and I did notice it as well, that both Scriff or however you want to pronounce it, and Wepus, the two observers.
Yeah.
Because I think Dark Mickey ended up not showing up or wasn't able to make it for some reason, but both of them were sick on day 3 or 4, I want to say. So, like, I know Lyrical was observing for his matches, and so again, it was still very good observing, better than Star Ladders, quite frankly. But you know, we did notice that there was some issues with some of the in-game obs.
Yeah, which, I mean, I'm not an expert on.
Again,
straight up.
If you notice minor hiccups, and this is where I'm just going to pop in here as somebody that, you know, professionally observed another MOBA for 3 years. You know, the little things like that, you know, yeah, noticing it and saying, okay, a caster's doing it. He's still doing a good job of, you know, it looks a little bit sloppy, not quite as crisp, but still looks good overall. Yeah, and it even says here caster/observer on his name. So obviously he was expecting to do a little bit. Again, nothing wrong with that whatsoever. And you know, I thought that PGL was good, and I look forward to seeing them do the next PGL event, whether it be a minor or a major, because I don't remember which one's next. You know, actually, I'm probably going to be watching anything else that PGL does in their Bucharest studio, because that was a nice little venue.
Yeah, it was nice. It was very nice. So does that put a cap on our PGL Open stuff?
Yeah, let's shift into Hamburg, since we kind of been weaving back and forth. All
right, so that's coming up this weekend. Officially starts on the 26th. So on Thursday, in just a couple days. And the lineup of teams for that is pretty darn strong. So we have Team Liquid and Newbie being the direct invites, Team Secret being the European qualifier, Virtus Pro being the CIS qualifier, EG being the North America qualifier. Those are not at all surprising. I would say those are, you know, the on-paper top teams from each of those regions, with you know, a little bit of elbow room in there for Europe. But Virtus Pro definitely the number one in CIS. EG definitely the number one in North America. From things,
just don't let complexity that, because they'll get mad.
The complexities look phenomenal.
No, NA is definitely looking a lot closer, but I think EG still has just an inch on top. And I would say,
for me, it's more resume. It's more resume.
Yeah, fair. And then lastly, for teams that make sense.
And yet,
SG Esports for South America. Again, I think they make sense. It's a name that makes sense to see there. Now, speaking of teams that don't make sense to be there, we have Keen Gaming from China. Now, Keen Gaming is Zhai, Dark, Wrong, and then two guys whose names I can't remember how they're pronounced, because they're in...
It's not in Flame.
In Korean.
It's in Chinese.
No, it's... Yeah, in Chinese. Yeah,
it's absolutely not Korean.
Yeah. No, I meant in the alphabet, you know, and compared to, like, you know, it's a Chinese word, but it's Ying and Jiang, who I don't, or sorry, Ning Chen, excuse me. But yeah, I don't know either of them. But yeah, so Keen Gaming out of nowhere did really well. Very impressed. And then in Southeast Asia, Happy Feet technically qualified, They're a team that I knew somebody that coached for them a while back. That team's had serious potential. Props to them. But then they had visa issues. And the interesting thing is that they didn't go with the team that took second, if I remember correctly.
They did.
They didn't. They went. So Clutch Gamers took second. Clutch Gamers very possibly also had issues because I do know that Germany. Sorry, go ahead.
I said I was apologizing because I thought so. Fnatic actually took second place at the qualifiers for Dota Pit, not ESL One Hamburg. Yes. So you're right. Just wanted to qualify.
So for ESL Hamburg, they took third, fourth, tied with Fire Dragoon. But Clutch Gamers were the team that took second there. But the problem is that Clutch Gamers are also 4 out of 5 of their players are from the Philippines, and again, Filipino, German visas are notoriously difficult both directions. I don't know what it is, but we've heard problems between those.
There's probably some like backdoor trade agreement between, or not backdoor. There's probably some trade agreement between the countries that just is stupid. It's all. Yeah.
So, anyways,
immigration is stupid.
Yeah. So, point being is that they didn't take second; they took third. Again, probably something related there. But the funny thing is that Fnatic is that not Southeast Asian team.
Yep.
So for those we have Eternal Envy, who is very much not from Southeast Asia.
Canadian, who lived in Europe for a while there, but
yeah,
Canadian.
Canadian. Then we have Excalibur, who is Swedish, and also about as Swedish as they come. Sort of. I mean, he spent a lot of. I should say he has spent a lot of time in Europe. He is.
I was about to say
Chinese
in terms of Swedish as they come. Johan
is as Swedish as they come in terms of his gaming pedigree. Okay. He is not as Swedish as they come when it comes to his ethnicity. Not what I'm talking about. I don't care about what your whatever is. Then you have Ohio, who, hey, cool, we have somebody that's actually from Asia. He played in Asian teams. He came from Team Malaysia and eHome MY to Fnatic. So cool. And then DJ, who didn't DJ come to the States briefly? No, I guess not.
No. Yes.
And then lastly, we have Pylai Dai, who is all around just 100% European.
Yeah. So it's a pretty soft SEA team. Is long story short for you. Like not that SEA. So, and there's also like a decent chance, I would say, because they were the second place team, that they're going to be able to step into the empty spot left by Mineski for the Dota Pit, which is taking place in Croatia, I think.
Yep. And since they're close, like in timing, because it's the next weekend or a couple of days after, if they want to take it, because it is just 3 days between the two.
Yeah,
I would not be surprised for them taking it.
I would agree with that,
especially because let me just check this and make sure that I'm not lying. Especially because they are not going to Perfect World. So I do know that there were some teams that said no to Dota Pit because the Perfect World Masters is almost after that.
Yeah.
And again, mostly Chinese teams because it is a minor, but there were some teams who said, "Nah, we're going back home." Namely, all of the Vici, or not the Vici, the LGD teams.
Yeah, and
no thanks.
But it's going to be interesting because now Fnatic, they lost all the qualifiers, but they might end up walking away with some QP. Maybe, if they can get through other teams.
If they can make it to fourth.
Yeah. So things haven't been looking for good, but they're falling their way into tournaments at this point. And I won't bag on them because they haven't looked like atrocious. They've been playing against a pretty darn good looking Mineski, as we've discussed.
Yeah, no, they've had some issues. We've ragged on EE before, but we'll see what happens.
Before
you helped.
I don't rag on him. I just acknowledge the fact that he destroys teams.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Well, doesn't destroy teams necessarily, but destroys organizations' willingness to build teams around him.
Yeah, fair enough.
Which I don't mind.
Yeah.
I am not opposed to breach burning.
So let's really quickly, since we're talking about Fnatic, that's a rough group stage. So Group A will be Evil Geniuses, Fnatic, Newbie, and Team Secret.
Yeah, and this is for ESL One Hamburg.
For continuing for ESL One Hamburg. And Group B is Keen, Team Liquid, SG Esports, and Virtus Pro.
Yeah, those are two savage-looking groups.
So Group B, I mean, is fairly straightforward, unless Keen Gaming, because a lot of people are saying, "Oh, Keen Gaming made it through on a fluke." They're really good at playing Chinese Dota. I don't know. I really have no freaking idea.
Oh, they have a chance to challenge that topic.
Yeah. I mean, I think most people are expecting to see SG in the bottom two. Team Liquid taking that Group B pretty handily. So it's the question of does Keen Gaming beat Virtus Pro or not? But then on Group A, Evil Geniuses, Newbie, and Team Secret are all fighting for first and second really strongly there. And then Fnatic can throw a monkey wrench into things if they show up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we've seen the EE Pylai Die combo have success in Team NP/Team Secret. So, if things can line up nicely for that team, we'll see what they have here. And also going to be a very, very, very important tournament for Newbie because they, like I previously discussed for Star Ladder, they kind of stunk up the joint. They kind of stunk up the joint at Star Ladder, so they're going to need to bounce back. And I mean, God knows that we've seen Dota teams break up faster than Newbie would for this, but yeah, they did not, they have a lot to prove.
They did not look good at Star Ladder, so they definitely need to look good here.
Yeah, and God only knows where they are mentally after second place at the International.
Yeah.
That might have given them a little bit more hunger, or might have cracked things a little bit when they come just a fingertip shy of the big prize.
Yeah, it's gonna be very, very interesting to see what happens. So I look forward to it. I look forward to Hamburg. I'm hopefully going to be able to watch a little bit more of it.
Yeah, and should note that this is going to be, in terms of the format of the tournament, we get the two group stages. Top two move on to a 4-team playoff, then single elimination from there. I believe best of 3s in the semis, then best of 5 in the finals.
It might actually only be best of 3.
Yeah, no confirmation about that on the Liquipedia. But
I'm checking that right now.
By the way, groups, top 2 from each group move on to the playoffs, then crossover, and then 4-team playoffs with single elimination from there. Going to be a very interesting tournament. $1 million prize pool. As we discussed earlier, 1,500 DPC points on the line. 750 going to the first place team, 450 going to the second place team, and 150 going to third and fourth. The 450 and 750 will soar past everybody in terms of the actual season standings. So once again, the points you get for the minors are pretty much on their meaningless.
Especially if Liquid takes first or second, because they're sitting on 150 from Star Ladder.
Yeah.
So if Mineski was there, obviously Mineski would have a chance to jump up there as well. And it's looking like it might be a best of 3 because all of your group stage or all of your playoff stage matches take place on the same day.
Oh, okay then.
It's possible that it's a best of 5, but that would be a long ass day if it was.
Yeah, it's possible. We'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, the website
doesn't really matter.
Not being my friend here. The official ESL One site's great for like giving just like pretty information and basic stuff for like your average consumer, but trying to give me specifics, not loving it.
Yeah, but gonna be that's the tournament to watch in October, just because of the higher stakes. Go to Analyst Pat.
Well, actually, technically, it's the tournament. Oh, wow, it is. It is at the very end of October.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
But then, we have
no majors in November. That's right.
We do have 2 minors in Dota Pit and Perfect World Masters, but it's good that we don't have any majors, just because
until the very first weekend of December.
You're going to have that the Dueling Fates update dropping on the 1st. So.
And that gives you 1 month to prep for Dream League Season 8. Also, to note, there is also Midas mode, which I think will be a great dumb tournament. You know, I appreciate that Slacks tweeted that if the Dueling Fates update drops on the 1st, that Midas mode will be the first chance that you get to see Tier 1 teams competing on it. But unless Midas mode is going on the 1st, the 2nd is when Dota Pit starts, and you've got Liquid, Newbie, OG, Virtus Pro, Immortals, Vici Gaming. Yo, right there, those are all Tier 1 teams.
That's a good lineup of teams.
And then you got SG Sports, who strong 1.5 argument, especially depending on how they do it at Hamburg.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the name of it that we were talking about. Oh, in my defense, today's been crazy. Dad fell off a ladder, broke a rib. He's okay, but
still sucks to fall off a ladder.
Stressful day.
But Midderfeed or Midas mode, does have a very strong lineup of teams. So they've got EG, Immortals, Digital Chaos, Optic Gaming, Team Liquid, OG, Navi, and Midorfeed, which is why I said that initially. And yeah, lots to like there. Lots of fun stuff coming up. So to close out Hamburg talk, who are you picking to win? Gun to your head.
For Hamburg? Liquid.
You're gonna pick Liquid officially 100%.
I will put 100% on Liquid. If I were betting, I would put like $5 down. That's about all that I'd feel comfortable betting. But I'm going to bet on Liquid here.
Yeah, I would not disagree with that because obviously they freaking won TI and they don't seem to have slowed down. Looking at their performance on at Star Ladder, I mean, with previous TI winners, particularly EG and to a lesser degree Wings, there was a bit of shakiness coming out of it. There was a tiny little hint of shakiness at Star Ladder, but other than that, it was just dominance. And we've been talking about how good Mineski looked. Liquid beat him 3-1 in Star Ladder.
And there were a couple of those games where we're sitting here going, oh my God, Liquid could still come back. And they're 30,000 down. Like, yeah, right, they can come back. But they're Liquid, and they almost did.
Yep. So, Team Liquid, definitely the safest pick. I will be giving a hard look to Virtus Pro. I am very interested in how they perform after sticking together following the international. They had a really good year before TI7, and going to be interesting to see how they come after the international, and if this lineup of 5 players can really continue to be an elite like top tier team after that. So
yep,
my 1A is Liquid, my 1B will be Virtus Pro. But I'm with you in terms of gun to my head. If I had to pick one, Liquid.
There you go. I just tweeted this out as well, by the way. So I'm locked in on this.
Ooh, nice. Oh, I got my notifications on Twitter are a pool of a septic tank. I have a septic tank notifications right now.
Yeah. So, anyways, it's like I said, I'd put $5 on it. If you wanted me to put more than that on there, I'd be a little bit on. I'd go maybe 10. But in terms of like actually putting down money right now, again, partially just kind of where I'm at. Like, I don't want to just throw away money. Obviously, if I was like a millionaire, sure, let's put $100 on so and so because I don't care. That's different. But
yeah,
20-something who's trying to make it in esports, $5 is a lot to us. That's like 10 ramen dinners.
Yeah, that's like
that includes boiling water.
Yeah, I mean, God knows that I when I was still in my 20s, that I had freaking student loan companies coming after me to break my thumbs for that much. So, Any other things to talk about with ESL One, or is that cap it?
Nope. I'm looking forward to watching it. I'm gonna try to watch as much as I can. We'll see how much
if we really want to get meta with it, going to be an important, in terms of the tryouts that people were discussing for TIH production, going to be important for ESL One to kind of step up on that.
Yeah,
they're going to want to have this tournament look very nice on top of being a good actual tournament. It takes place in Hamburg, Germany, so there are probably tickets you can get if you are listening to us in Germany.
I actually don't know if there still are tickets available because
I have no idea. Actually,
let me check really quickly here because I can do those things because I'm not running production. Ha ha ha.
Ha. Yeah, yep. I mean, not that I'm doing much to run production.
Yeah. So it's 44 euros for the weekend. If you just want to do the regular weekend ticket, you want to get some more stuff, it's 99 euros for the weekend. Or you can spend 3,000 euros for a private lounge access for 5 people, fast access with prime catering, and a high-class goodie bag for each guest. Man, I would be that goodie bag better be primo. I mean, there's actually a decent thing there if you had 5 people that were like super interested in going.
I could see it being primo. I mean, what does it take to really be a primo goodie bag for you?
For me, I'm thinking like quality bag, none of this, not like some cheap bag. I mean, it can be cheap to make, but like sort of like the bags that you could get at the Boston Major.
Okay.
Cloth or like a plastic weave. And then I don't know what I'd want in the bag, because like trying to think about 5 of them at 3,000 euros.
It's gotta have a jersey in my mind.
Yeah, I'm thinking a jersey, something signed, by like cast, like not necessarily players, because like you're also getting to the front of the line for all signing sessions. But I would want something signed like that, something ESL swag related.
They have plenty to work with in terms of I'm sure, like just in terms of how many events they've run, I'm sure that they have like a warehouse just of random crap that they want to give away.
Well, and that's the thing is like I don't want like a random ass like ESL water bottle or like like I would want it to be because that they've got the event swag there for sale. Yeah. So I would want probably a 50 euros minimum, closer to 100 worth of stuff per bag.
A jersey is kind of that jersey for me.
And yeah, that jersey is definitely make or break for me as well, I think, now that I'm thinking about it.
And it has to be in my size. I mean, I'm a 2XL.
It would have to be a ticket for a jersey that you could go down and buy, because that way you could get one for whatever team was available for sale. But yeah.
I was about to say, I'm a 2XL, which is not bad for esports.
But you're a 2XL American, which is a 3 to 4XL in Europe.
Also, this is and this is an event in Europe, so a 2XL there, as you pointed out, doesn't get me that far.
A 2XL in Europe is like a large to 1XL in the States.
Yeah. I don't necessarily like if it's from the teams that are there. I like them all to varying degrees.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Okay, let's get off that topic. As fun as this is, we should try and be a little bit.
Okay. I'd probably go with a Keen Gaming jersey though, because I like the purple gray combo.
If you could get a Keen Gaming jersey, that would be pretty.
Yeah, assuming they do stick with that color scheme of purple and gray, that'd look nice. I mean, like early aughts Los Angeles Kings. It's a good looking jersey.
Good looking jersey. Still hit the org. Good looking jersey.
Terrible org. Horrible people. Disgusting fans. Bandwagons. Get out of here. Well, if you weren't there when Wayne Gretzky was there, you're shit.
Yeah, my issue with the Los Angeles Kings actually is pre-Gretzky. From I read the biography of the first African American player, well, technically African Canadian player, to play in the NHL, and the shit that the Kings fans did to him.
Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah, and he's a Bruin, so.
Yeah.
Not that, Boston is actually in a position to...
Yeah, I was going to say, not everybody's perfect, or nobody's perfect, I should say. But,
yeah, not that Boston is in a position to really claim, progressive status in terms of their sports teams, or that their fans aren't just garbage human beings. Because, yeah, we got the Red Sox and we got Red Sox fans, so horrible. Anyway, so wanted to quickly touch on Toby Wan's YouTube page.
This is all you. I saw that he did it, but I haven't had the time to watch it.
No, I mean, it's just kind of me saying "told you so" based on Toby Wan, because he discussed the lack of investment in Valve in terms of the quality of events. We're already kind of seeing a little bit of oversaturation issues with Dota 2 events. We are seeing that prize pool means very little in terms of generating ratings, and you can make a strong case based on PGL's event taking place in PGL studios with no live crowd that this is money. The money that goes into the prize pool is basically being taken from production and handed over to the players just for the, just to secure that extra little bit from Valve, which isn't ideal. There are serious questions already based on the not that great ratings that excuse me, that PGL, the not that great ratings that PGL got, that the actual, the value of being a Valve sponsored major minor is pretty much meaningless. So doom and gloom. My doom and gloom predictions are holding strong to this point. And if you have an issue with that, you can direct it to Toby Wan, because
I'm waiting to see. I've mentioned that I'm somebody who's very willing to give benefit of the doubt and hope and hope and hope. But I do think that this first round, maybe second round of majors, will definitely tell us a lot about what's going to happen with this whole Dota Pro circuit.
Especially, my God, just bring compendiums back for tournaments. It's such a difference maker.
I mean, I'm hoping that they do something like that. It's a little late for round one, but I mean, even if you did a compendium that was like, hey, we're going to do 3 compendiums before TI, and we're going to split it up into all events taking place during the first one, get stuff from the first compendium, all the ones from the second, and you just split it up and just go, here, we're just going to help pay for shit. It's not going to go towards prize pool. It's going to go towards helping you put money, back in your pocket. I would totally invest in that. Partially because I have a minor gambling addiction, but also because I want to support esports.
Yeah. And I mean, we've seen so much success over the years over the years we actually had like that kind of microtransaction supporting tournaments. It worked on multiple occasions. I mean, not everything is going to be like DAC 2015, where they end up having like a ridiculous like $3 million prize pool or something stupid. Not everything is going to be that or even close to that. But in terms of bumping up like a small show to a biggish show, it's a difference maker. And especially with the DPC, which really, really, really relies on tournament organizers to fill in the gaps, you're gonna need to you need to get this shit straight. And that's basically all I had to say on that.
Yeah, everybody in Dota really needs to go, okay, what are we gonna do? We need to decide XYZ, and we need to understand that there is no perfect answer, and that we are going to have to give something up with any choice that we have, whether that be Valve hands-on, Valve hands-off, all that stuff. So we'll just play it by ear. We'll probably do a more coherent show on it at some point if it starts to become more obvious that something needs to happen.
Yeah, and I mean, just in general, my consistent complaint and ultimately the one issue, the way, if I was going to boil it down into one sentence, Dota 2 lacks infrastructure.
Yep. And
somebody needs to provide it, whether that is something like a PEA kind of situation with Counter-Strike, which I like the idea of, for sure.
I don't dislike the idea. It was just executed so poorly.
It was very, very, very poorly executed. But either way, that's an idea I love. And it's something that you know, when you don't have, or you know, next step, if it's something like an LCS kind of thing, which, you know, that's going through its own issues right now, but that's not really relevant for this topic. Having that kind of like structure from the publisher itself is my general idea. Or, you know, Overwatch League, which would, you know, it's not going to happen at any point in the near future with with Valve, just because they don't have the people for that you know, that Activision Blizzard does. You know, they just don't have the staff to even get the ball rolling on something like that. But you need somebody needs to fill in the gaps here, because right now what we have are tournament organizers being tasked with putting on events and players filling those events, and that's it. You know, that doesn't help with sponsors, that doesn't help with teams, that doesn't help with any of this stay in place long term, because as soon as the tournament organizers are gone now, that's it. Then Dota is just a game, and you know, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because it's a fun game that I've played way too much of. But
no, I definitely agree that if Dota loses the tournament organizers, like, ESL has no problem ditching Dota for good. You know, they've come close a couple times, and if ESL says, you know, forget this, we're gone, we're down to PGL.
Perfect world.
Well, PGL China, because China's its own thing.
Yeah.
And then technically BTS and Moonduck, but like Moonduck's done some meme stuff, and I mean, look, I am 100% for their minor. I'm gonna try to go to it actually in DC, but some of their other stuff has just been a little bit memey and a little bit shenanigansy, and I don't know how they're going to do it or how well they're going to do. And then you've got BTS trying to go from just Summit to this major, and I'm just like, I don't know how it's going to go.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason that ESL has such, not just ESL, but like DreamHack, that those kinds of tournament organizers have such a prestigious place in the entire esports scene, and why, you know, who are the sponsors of BTS, generally speaking? Like Monster, and that's it?
Well, they've got a long-term agreement with sponsor. They've been partnered with Sennheiser in the past, and I think that might still be going. They haven't done an event in a while. I'm waiting to see what happens at Smash Summit. They've had betting sites to roll through. They've had peripheral sponsors come through. They've had chair sponsors come through, which is hilarious, because you'll see them when they get sponsored by Maxnomic push all their DX Racers out of all the shots, and then vice versa when they get sponsored by DX Racer. I think Maxnomic was the last one, but you know, still. But yeah, I think there's one other one, but I forget who it was. Oh, not shit. Who was it? Brain Fuel, which I don't even know what happened to them.
Yeah, and if you compare and contrast that with the sponsors that you get with an ESL or a PGL, not to say that their sponsors are bad, but you know, as I previously discussed, when you compare the sponsors of an EG versus a Team NP, which is, you know, artisanal hot sauce, which may or may not be good. I've never actually had it.
To be fair, it's actually pretty decent. He's Mr. Artisanal Hot Sauce is trying to get in. He put down money. He pretty much knew he was going to lose money, and he wrote up this long Medium post on all of it. And it's really interesting to see, you know, what he said and how bad Dota is for sponsors.
Like, Jesus Christ, something happened. The same exact thing happened in MMA. Like, for a long time, the UFC was whittling away sponsors, like fighter sponsor opportunities. Saying, you know, it started with, you can't be sponsored by these kinds of companies, because like you know, ESPN didn't want to run you know, stuff like UFC events in their, you know, top 10s on SportsCenter, because guys would have like condomdepot.com on their butts, because that's who sponsored them.
I forgot about that old stuff.
Yeah, and then so they would, you know, the UFC would say no condomdepot.com, which is like, yeah, okay, makes sense. Then they would do stuff like no gunstore.com, because Fox will like blur out their logos even on events run today. And you know, Fox has had UFC rights for 6 years now. And it just kept on going on and on. And eventually the UFC instituted a quote sponsor tax, where, you know, the UFC's mentality was, this is our platform, so if you want to have your logo on our platform, you have to give us money before you give it to the fighters. Which wasn't smart, because the UFC was basically relying on sponsors to pay for the fighters in the way that they didn't want to pay for the fighters. But ultimately, there's just like one place called Dynamic Fastener, which is a company that makes, I think, fasteners. They just make like various clamps and stuff. I look up what they actually do.
Yeah, they sell bolts and stuff.
Yeah, they sell bolts and flashings and screws and that kind of stuff. So
yeah, you know, it's and quite frankly, like being in the UFC, like that's not an awful thing to advertise, because one, yeah, you're going to get a lot of incidental traffic that's not going to get anything, because you're going to get all those guys going, what's Dynamic Fasteners, and going and clicking, and it's not doing any good because you're just, you know, whatever. But you're also going to get those guys that, you know, maybe they own a construction company or they work in, you know, whatever, and you're going to get those, and they're big ticket orders for a company like that. And that's how it works.
And also should note that, you know, this is one kind of random kook, but not really, running Dynamic Fastener. But he's one random kook, but when you get onto the UFC, you get 1 million viewers in the United States right then. And then you get all the replays of it, you get all the, you know, Getty images of it that get run even today, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot more value in getting a UFC sponsorship on some bum than there is on a literal and figurative bum than there is in, you know, sponsoring an esports team.
Yep.
That should change. And that should change.
Well, and the thing is, it's changing. You know, let me see if I can find these numbers really quickly here.
UFC is stupid, Jesus Christ.
So it's not going to be Dota numbers. It's going to be Counter-Strike numbers here. Mostly because they've had some disgustingly high numbers. Let's see.
Lots of dead air right now. I'll fill that.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm trying to find this number, and it's just not.
Yeah, it's no bet. It's like you're doing things I should have been the one.
And it was like something like just like millions.
Yeah, I mean, I talk about sponsors a lot.
Literally, they had over 1 million viewers for uniques for Counter-Strike.
That's a lot.
So even if you convert it 1%, let's say that Sennheiser does it. Okay, so Sennheiser, let's just say that they make $100 per sale. You know, nice and round number. If 1% of those 1 million people go to Sennheiser and buy something, which is a low conversion rate,
yeah,
you're talking. What that's 100,000? No,
you're talking a lot of money. Long story short.
Yeah, you're talking a lot of sales off of that. So come here. Times 0.01. Yeah, it's 100. That's 100 grand right there.
Yeah,
that they made off of that.
That's value.
And again, that's on the low end of conversions. So, and that's only if 1 million unique viewers.
Yep. And, you know, to go back to what I was discussing and what I was pointing to with Toby one, like I said, the viewership doesn't seem to be there. And once the oversaturation sinks in, it's really not going to be there.
Yeah.
And tournament organizers really, really need the pure viewership to be able to pitch to potential sponsors. And again, there are tiers of sponsors. If I could tell you right now that your company is sponsored by FYM Hot Sauce, and again, not to bag on FYM Hot Sauce, FYM Hot Sauce or Snickers? Who are you going to choose?
I'd rather be sponsored by Snickers. Sorry, FYM, but
yeah, I mean, and who would you rather be sponsored by? Let's see here, Sennheiser or Vio?
Vio,
Sony.
Vio.
Yeah,
that's
Vio.
tight. Vio. I mean, Sennheiser's great. Don't get me wrong. I just like we said with the other one,
But there's a prestige to Sony versus there's a prestige to Snickers. There's a prestige to Coca-Cola versus Monster. There is a prestige to Bud Light versus Mickey's Malt Liquor, to go back to a UFC example. There are tiers to these things, and we are not seeing the tiers get stepped up, and that's not a good thing.
I mean, we've seen some stepping, but some stepping, and we're getting super off topic here, but
whatever.
Yeah, at this point, the show's kind of over that, and we're on to something else here.
Yeah, we're off the rails. Off the rails.
Yeah, off the rails here. For sponsorship stuff, we saw Coke, we saw Dr. Pepper both getting interested in hardcore sponsoring League of Legends, and Riot went no and shut it down, and so that killed it. And then there's stuff behind the scenes that I don't technically know, but I can tell you absolutely screws over everybody when you're careful. I almost said things I'm not supposed to say. Short version is that there are people out there who don't know their worth and are giving away sponsorship rights for significantly less than they should be, and that hurts other people because they can't take that sponsorship right. When other companies are like, we can't tell
and
whoever we can take that amount.
To go back to UFC example, have you seen me bitching about Reebok at all? Like frequently, the UFC has a Reebok.
I have seen your complaints.
The UFC has a deal with Reebok where they are the exclusive outfitter of UFC fighters. Before, it was like a Wild West. Anybody could get sponsored by any apparel company for pretty much anything, which opened the door for Reebok. There were Reebok sponsored fighters for beforehand, but there were also like really niche equipment makers for MMA, like Hayabusa and Venom, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And they still exist in varying degrees, because they also, on top of making like shorts for fighters, they also make like heavy bags and gym mats and that kind of shit. So when the Reebok deal got fully taken over, guess how much a UFC fighter gets paid, like a brand spanking new UFC fighter gets paid to wear Reebok, head to toe?
Maybe $1,000.
No, a bit more than that. If I recall correctly, it is 5,000 head to toe. Guess how much it used to cost?
For a fight, or was it
for a fight? And also other, like, the events that also lead into a fight.
Yeah.
Like weigh-ins.
Yep.
And then they can't wear other stuff during like media events.
Yeah.
So it's head to toe Reebok for weigh-ins and fight. It used to
$5,000. That's it. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, for like sponsoring, like Randy Couture back in the day, he would make 6 figures easy.
Yeah, I was gonna say I could see that at least being 50 to 100 grand back in the day when there was more competition.
6 figures easy. But the fact that a UFC fighter gets paid $5,000 for head to toe sponsorship has driven the price down for the entire MMA world. Like, if you're a fighter in Bellator, why would they pay you why would they pay you more than $5,000 when this sucker over in the UFC is getting $5,000 from Reebok? Why would they pay you more than that for head to toe? That's a guy in the UFC. You're some bum in Bellator, and that's not accurate. But that price tag over there drives down everything for everyone.
Absolutely. So just keep that in mind. If you're, obviously nobody's watching this is one of those people that works in that area.
Did you never do like college radio?
I did.
Did they not have the sign that says "Don't say that no one is listening"?
I didn't say that no one is listening. I said that no one who works in those fields is listening.
Oh, okay. Okay. I thought you said nobody.
I know. I 100% know there are other people listening, and you should, if you are a content creator or if you're anybody, just don't devalue yourself. What I'm saying is that I doubt that there are.
And if you are watching us, like, comment, and subscribe.
Yes, and your value there is that content. No, we do love everybody that's tuning in, but no, what I was commenting on is just that
he loves you.
Yeah,
I'm indifferent. Anyway, finish your thought.
The only things that he loves is he loves MMA sometimes, he loves his wife, and he loves his bird.
I love my wife and my bird. One bird. I hate MMA. I just hate about it. I loved it before it was my job. If I ever get full-time in esports, God, I'm gonna fucking hate esports. The fastest way to hate something you love is to make a job of it. Like, that's just a fact.
I've had some times where I've hated stuff and I've come back and I've loved it again. You know, with varying how much I'm doing stuff with esports, but there are some things that I 100% burned out on completely.
Yeah, I mean, that's normal.
Oh look, FlyQuest just picked up a PUBG team. How surprising!
Good for them.
This is my shocked face.
No, you smacked your microphone. Made a very cool sound. It made a nice low hollow sound. It was cool. Probably nicer than whatever it is. Do we have anything else to talk about, or are we just kind of fucking?
No, we've been done for the last 10 minutes.
Okay, so like, comment, and subscribe. We'll be here next week after ESL One to talk about ESL One, then probably bitch about Dueling Fates. Do we know for a fact?
I'm going to learn a whole new patch, but yeah.
Do we know for the fact it's actually going to be a patch on top of that?
Oh, and not just, oh my god, if they just dropped those 2 heroes.
Oh man. If they just dropped the 2 heroes and then like a mini game with it.
Dude, think about how pissed people. I would love it. I would love that, but people would be so pissed.
I mean, I've discussed this in the past where I really appreciate the casual indifference that Valve has for some of its stuff. And not just Valve, but you know, like WWE and that kind of stuff, where they just have a real, just casual, just towards you as a consumer.
Yep.
Like, what was my? I bitched about. I'm gonna look it up on Twitter right now. It's on the disdain. I don't know, but either way, after a certain point, I really just appreciate the casual disdain that companies can have for you as a consumer.
Oh yes.
So that should be fun. It should be fun. So like, comment, subscribe, fucking tune in, blah blah blah. Anything else you want to say?
No, we're all done. Thank you, everybody. We do appreciate you listening to the show, especially if you've stuck around past all of the ranting and the rambling. We do appreciate it.
Yeah, if you stuck through past that, thank you. And you can follow us on Twitter. It's in the description. My face is like closer to my microphone now. Hit and stop broadcast. Have a great week.